guys, I am ready for lesson 7 of module 18, the last lesson of this module. And so let's get started. It's on page 481. So this whole week, we have been learning about different types of graphs and using them to represent data. So now we're taking all that we've learned about how to represent data and we're using it to solve 1- and 2-step problems. So the I can statement says I can use data in picture graphs, bar graphs, and line plots to solve 1- and 2-step how many more and how many less problems. So let's get started. It says, for number 1, it says Pillar surveys the students in her group about their favorite summer activities. How many more students choose beach than pool and camp combined? So the question is, how many more students choose beach than pool and camp combined? So what is interesting about this problem is that we have to combine the amounts for pool and camp and compare it to the votes for the beach. So that's what makes this a 2-step problem. So we have the survey over on the side with the tally marks. So now we're just going to take that and turn it into a picture graph. So all graphs need a title. So the title of this probably just going to be the same as the title of the survey, which is Favorite Summer Activity. So we'll write that at the top. Oops, I should have written smaller. But that's okay. And then over on the left is going to be all the different activities. So we'll say going to the beach, going to the pool, staying at home, going to camp, and going to a playground. Okay, so you'll notice they gave us the key already. So each beach ball equals 2 students. And so let's take a look over at the survey again, the tally marks, and we're going to figure out how many beach balls to draw for our picture graph for each section. So for the beach, we have 10 boats. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. So we'll have 5 beach balls. Then for the pool, we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so we'll have 2 beach balls. Home, there is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 votes. So we're going to say, okay, 9 is not divisible by 2 because it's an odd number. So we're going to go down to 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so we'll do 4 beach balls. And then we need 1 more to get to 9, and so we're just going to draw half a beach ball. A whole beach ball equals 2 student votes, so a half beach ball would represent 1 student vote. Okay, mine got a little weird, that's good. Yeah, it's half. And then the camp, there was 3 votes, and so again, 3 is not divisible by 2, so we'll go down 1 to 2. That's 1 beach ball plus a half a beach ball to show 3. And then the playground is 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we'll draw 2 beach balls. Okay, so now part B says you can use the picture graph to solve the problem. Draw the symbols to compare these rows. So here we have, all right, here are the beach, the pool, and the camp. So the beach had 5 beach balls, so we'll draw 5. The pool had 2, and camp had 1.5. Like that. So now we can look at this and compare it. Okay, so these match up, these match up, these match up, and then half of that matches up. So this is our leftover, the number left over when we compare the 2 activities, or the 3 activities. So it says, what does a half of a symbol stand for in the graph? That stands for 1 student. right? We talked about that. So then we can look at it like we did, or we can write an equation. So what equations can you write to find how many more students choose beach than pool and camp combined? Well, we would find out the number of students who voted for the beach. And so to do that, we'll do 2 times 5, because there's 5 beach balls. So 2 times 5 equals 10 votes. And then we could do plus, or we'll add up the pool and the camp votes. So the pool was 2 times 2, and that equals 4, plus 4 plus the votes for the camp, and that was 3 votes for the camp, and that equals 7. And then we'll just find the difference between 10 and 7. And 10 minus 7 equals 3. So if you look up here when we did our pictures and we canceled these out, we said, okay, so this is what the pool and the camp has all together is 2, 4, 6, plus 1 is 7. And the beach has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So the difference between 10 and 7 is 3. And we found that by crossing out what they had in common and then counting this up. 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 more students choose the beach than the pool and camp combined. So this is a 2-step problem because we had to find out what amount of students voted for the pool and camp before we could compare the data. All right, next page. It says, a store collects data about camping tent sales over 4 months. How many fewer tents were sold in March how many fewer tents were sold in March and April combined than in June? So again, we are comparing 2 things versus 1. So it says, make a bar graph of the data. So we are going to, again, we need to name our graph. So we'll probably just call this camping tent sales because that's what we have over on our graph, or over on this chart. So I'll just say camping tent sales. And it looks like they're doing a horizontal graph, so that's what we'll do too. So with the horizontal graph, you have the numbers on the bottom and the categories on the side. So we'll have numbers sold on the bottom, and the categories are months, so that's going to be on the side. So we have month on the side, number sold on the bottom. So let's look at our sales over here. March, April, May, June. So we'll just go March, April, May, and June along the side. And then now we have to figure out how many bars we're going to have going up and down. And that is going to be the scale of the graph. So let's look at our information over here. We have 10 in March, 15 in April, 5 in May, and 50 in June. So we're probably not going to divide by 2 because then we would have to have so many lines. It looks like we could probably do 5s, like counting by 5s. But if we look at our range, you know, the smallest number versus the biggest number in our data, the difference between 5 and 50 is a lot. And so I'm not sure I want to count by 5s just because we would have 10 lines. So that would take up a lot of space. So I'm thinking that we could count by 10s, especially because half of 10 is 5. And so on these months where we have 15 and 5, we can just go in between the lines and that will show 5 instead of 10. So let's do that. So on the bottom, we're going to have our numbers 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I need to draw that a little bit better. But so 0 is always that first line, and then we have 10, 20, 30, 40, and then the last line is 50. Okay, so we want to try and be as even as we can. I probably made that space too big, but that's okay. Okay, so now let's draw our bars. For March, there were 10 sold. So we'll go to that first line, fill it in. April, there were 15 sold. So we're gonna go past 10, and halfway between 10 and 20 is 15. So there's that one. And then for May, there was only 5, so we'll go halfway between 0 and 10 is 5. And then in June, there were 50, so we'll go all the way up to the edge of the graph and fill that in. So here is our horizontal bar graph. Okay, so now it says one way to solve this problem is to use the bar graph, compare the bars. So they did it for us. They said, okay, in March there were 10 and 15 cells. So they took the bars and they just put them right next to each other and then compare it to June. So then we could just say the difference between March plus April and June is going to be this amount here. So that 5 jump, 10, and then another 10 jump. See how I did that? I count backwards to get to where March and April are. I added up March and April, compare it to June, go to the end of June, count backwards, and yeah, so they did 10, they counted backwards on the bottom, 10, 20, plus 5 is 25. So March and April combined have 25 fewer sales than June. Okay, then part C says another way is to draw a bar model and write equations. 10 plus 15 equals 25. And why did they do 10 plus 15? Well, because March is 10 and April is 15. So that means 50 minus 25, right, minus the March and April sales equals 25. So that would be our missing piece here. So 50 minus 25 equals 25. All right, it says, how did you know what operations to use to solve each step of the comparison? Well, when we're comparing, we subtract, but before we could even compare the two numbers, we had to find out the combined total of the March and April sales. And so to find the combined total, we add. So we had to add to find the combined total, subtract to find the difference, and compare those numbers. All right, next page, number 3, it says, Carrie measures the length of 9 pieces of used chalk to the nearest ½ inch. How many more chalk pieces have a length of 1 1/2 inches than lengths of ½ inch and 1 inch combined? Make a line plot to show the data. So we are comparing the lengths of 1 1/2 inches and then ½ inch and 1 inch combined. So here's just all the random measurements. So let's draw a line plot. So with line plots, the bottom is like a number line, and so this is going to be the measurements. So I'm looking at this. The smallest is ½ inch. The greatest is 2 1/2 inches. I don't see any 1/4 inches, so we could probably just mark halves. And so I'm going to start with 0 over here, and then I'm going to end up at 3. So for me, I like to do like work outside in. So I usually jump to like the whole number, so 0 to 3, and then I find the whole numbers in between 0 and 3, 1 and 2. So I'd write those and just kind of eyeball it, space it out appropriately like that. And then once I have the whole numbers, then I can divide into halves and then fourths if I wanted to. So in between 0 and 1 is 1/2. In between 1 and 2 is 1 and 1/2. In between 2 and 3 is 2 and 1/2. Like that. Okay, so then I'm just gonna mark these, and remember with line plots, we draw X's or dots above the number line to show how many objects have that length. So I'm just gonna cross them off, 1 and 1/2, cross it off, mark it, 1 and 1/2 again, cross it off, mark it, 1/2 inch, cross it off and mark it, 2 1/2, cross it off, mark it, 1 and 1/2, mark it, 1 inch, mark it, another inch, mark that one, 1 and 1/2 again, mark it, then 1 and 1/2, mark it. So crossing it off, make sure that I am marking it accurately and not missing anything. Okay, so now I have my line plot. Now I can use the line plot to solve the problem, like it says in part B. Draw X's to compare the columns of X's. So how many X's do we have in 1 and 1/2 inches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 pieces of chalk with a length of 1 and 1/2 inches. So I'm going to draw 5 X's. Then how many have a length of 1 inch? That would be 2. So I'm going to draw 2 X's. And how many have a length of 1/2 an inch? 1. So I'm going to draw 1 X over in this comparative thing. So then I could look at this and go, okay, 1 and 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So those match up. So this is where there are more. So we can see that there are 2 more X's on the 1 and 1/2 inches side. So there are 2 more pieces of chalk that have a length of 1 and 1/2. Then it asks, what equations can you write to compare the X's? How many more chalk pieces have a length of 1 and 1/2 inches than lengths of 1/2 an inch and 1 inch combined? So again, with my equations, I'm going to add first for my 2 categories. So there are 2 1 inch pieces of chalk plus 1 1/2 inch. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. Then I'm going to subtract to compare those numbers. There are 5 1 1/2 inch pieces of chalk. So I'm going to do 5 minus my combined total over here, which is 3, equals a difference of 2. Okay, feeling totally groovy. Let's go to the check understanding. It says, use your line plot to answer the questions. How many fewer chalk pieces have a length of 1 inch than lengths of 1 1/2 inches and 2 1/2 inches combined? So I'm combining 1 1/2 inches, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to write that down. And then I'm combining that with the 2 1/2 inches of a piece of chalk with 2 1/2 inches. It's the measure is 2 1/2 inches. So there's only 1 piece of chalk. So I'll just do 5 plus 1 equals 6. And then compare it to the pieces of chalk that have a length of 1 inch. And that is 2. So I'll subtract 2. And that equals 4. So there are 4 fewer 1 inch pieces of chalk. Okay, and number 2, how many more chalk pieces have a length of 1 and 1/2 inches than lengths of 1 inch and 2 1/2 inches combined? So I'm going to combine my info first. So 1 inch, there are 2 pieces of chalk that are the length of 1 inch plus 1 piece of chalk that has the length of 2 1/2 inches, and that equals 3. Then I'm going to compare that to 1 and 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. 5 minus 3 equals 2 more pieces of chalk that have a length of 1 and 1/2 inches. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, last page. Okay, it says, use the data in the tally chart for number 3 through 7. A museum collects data about the number of visitors with a museum membership. So the title of the graph should match the survey and the tally chart. And this is number of visitors. So I'm just going to write number of visitors as the title. And then the categories are also going to be the same. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That will be written down on the side. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All right, so now it doesn't tell me what the key should be, and so I need to come up with it myself. So I need to figure out how many visitors there are on each day. 5, 10, 11, 12 on Monday. Tuesday has 4. Wednesday has 5, 6, 7, 8. Thursday has 5, 6. And Friday is 5, 10, 15, 16. So now I'm looking at all these numbers, and I want to find a number that is that all of these numbers are divisible by. So I'm looking at these 12, 4, 8, 6, 16. Gosh, nearly all of these are divisible by 4. They're all divisible by 2, but remember, I want to see if I could go bigger than 2 so that I can draw less pictures. And so most all of them are divisible by 4 except 6. So I'm trying to think if I could do something else to represent 6. And let's see, the closest number divisible by 4 to 6 is 4, because I have to go down. So 6 minus 2 is 4. Okay, and half of 4 is 2. So that would be perfect. I would just use one symbol plus a half. So nailed it. The key will be each, what do I want to do? I'll do a smiley face. Each smiley face equals 4 visitors. Okay, so then Monday, there were 12 visitors. 12 divided by 4 is 3, so I'm going to draw 3 smiley faces. I should do them a little bit smaller, but oh well. Tuesday, we have 4 visitors. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so I'll do 1 smiley face. Wednesday, we had 8 visitors. 8 divided by 4 is 2, so I'll draw 2 smiley faces. Thursday, we had 6 visitors, so this is the one where I have to go down to 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then half a smiley face will be 2 visitors, and 4 plus 2 equals 6, so that's perfect. He only has one eye. Half a smiley face, and then Friday, there are 16 visitors. 16 divided by 4 is 4, so I'll draw 4 smiley faces. Okay, there's my picture graph. All right, number 4, it says, how many fewer visitors are there on Tuesday than on Thursday and Friday combined? So I'm comparing Tuesday to Thursday and Friday combined. So first I'm gonna add to combine my visitors. I have 4, 8, 12, 16 on Friday. So I'll write 16 plus how many there were on Thursday? 4 and a half. Well, not a half, but 4 and half a smiley face, which is 2. So 4 and 2 is 6. So 16 plus 6 equals 22. So then I'll subtract the visitors on Tuesday. And there were only 4 visitors on Tuesday. So then I'll subtract minus 4. 22 minus 4 equals 18 fewer visitors. 18 fewer visitors on Tuesday. Number 5 says, how many more visitors are there on Friday than on Monday? This one we're just comparing 2 things, 2 categories. So let's see, Friday we had 16 visitors, so I'll do 16 minus, Monday we had 12 visitors, so we'll do minus 12 equals 4 more visitors. And then number 6 says, which day has half of the number of Monday's visitors? Well, let's think. Monday's visitors is 12. And if we're thinking of half, then we divide by 2. So 12 divided by 2 equals 6. Is there a day that had 6 visitors? Oh, yep, that was Thursday. So the answer is Thursday. Okay, number 7 says the museum has 12 more visitors with a museum membership on Saturday than on Friday. How many visitors have a museum membership on Saturday? So 12 more than Friday. If Friday has 16 visitors and Saturday has 12 more than Friday, we'll do 16 plus 12, and that will get us 28. So there are 28 visitors on Saturday. Ta-da! All right, I hope you had fun. It's kind of fun putting all of our knowledge together on this lesson and making the graphs and then solving problems about it. So I hope it went well for you. Good luck on your homework and let me know if you need anything. Love your guts. Bye.